There are various theories out there as to how to fix our monetary system. My purpose is to make the case for transitioning to a local exchange trading system, also called LETS for short. I will not be discussing why we need monetary reform, nor will I discuss why I disagree with the need for other proposed solutions in this video. So, what is a local exchange trading system? For starter, it is both a market system as well as a type of currency. Think of its currency as just like a measuring tool, like inches. Uh, this system would benefit the members who are a part of it as well as the community in which it is located. And it has the benefit of being immune from recessions and depressions. One small difference with the system I'm proposing is that traditionally a LETS is both a type of currency and a listing of those goods. I do not include in my proposal a listing of those goods like many other systems do. One good example that comes to my mind is the Community Exchange System, or the CES, which is available online. And also, if local exchanges would like to design such a system, if they are wanting to do so, they're certainly welcome to do so. And certainly I enjoy the features on the CES website. So how will a LETS system have its exchanges be facilitated? Well, in person it can be done a couple of ways. The first way is for people to have their own LETS checkbook, which will be similar to a checkbook that you would get from a bank. You would use these as you would use any typical check. People who maybe live in the areas away from regular internet access could use these. And you'll notice at the bottom of this check that I've designed, it has a LETS routing number and a LETS account number. And it indicates, which local exchange trading system maybe that would be coming from. So it's, it looks very similar to a standard check. And maybe the check system just seems antiquated to you. For many people under the age of 40, it kind of does. Well, there's no reason that local exchanges could not issue their own card, similar to a credit or a debit card. When you sign up for a credit card, you start off with a maximum limit for your credit. For my first card, my limit was $1,500. However, you could increase this if you request the bank to do so, and have good credit built up as reported from credit scoring agencies. So you got to look at what determines your credit score. Well, the system currently in use has a range from $300 to $850. Sorry, not dollars, points. The higher being the better. So 300 is the worst, 850 is the best. And the image shown here shows the factors that affect your personal credit score. Making payments on time, how much of your credit limit you're utilizing, how many months old your account is with regular activity, and many other factors. From what I understand, this chart may not even be 100% accurate for the current system. At any rate, I would like to propose something much more simple and transparent. The LETS credit scoring formula should be simple. If you have a healthy give and take of a LETS system, in other words, many credits and many debits, then your credit score should increase each month, as should your credit limit. Think of it this way. In a game, you may have a limited amount of things you can carry, but if you level up, you may be able to carry more. It does not necessarily mean that you now possess more either. It just means that your capacity to carry more has increased. This system would reward people who work hard and who are fiscally responsible by making regular payments on their bills. It should also reward employment or earning income, showing your contribution to the economy and not being a drain on it. And so if you look at my simplistic system here, it has those three categories: payment history, credit history, and income. And for each one of these, there's a way to get a point and there's a way to lose a point. And so in that way, it's much more holistic. Each point represents $100. So if you say get 3 points, you hit all those marks at the end of the month, then your total credit limit increases by 300, both in the positive sense and the negative sense. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. And on the same token, if you get all negative ones, so negative one, negative one, negative one, negative 3 total, then you would lose a total span of 300, both in the positive and the negative. So let's see how that looks like. Alright, let's walk through how someone brand new to a Let's system would see their finances change. What you see here is similar to what you may see when you go online and check your debit or credit card. And this is kind of a hybrid between the two and more. A debit card can have money loaded onto it, while a credit card cannot. A credit card has a credit limit, while a debit card does not. A credit limit here is suggested by default, as many of us make less than $2,000 starting out in life. And this system can go below that same amount as well. So if you look over at the the credit limit, you'll see it has a plus/minus 2,000. That means at most you can have 2,000 in there, and at the least you can have a negative 2,000. So if you want to think about it like on a number line, you have a total of 4,000. Here I've added the paycheck you worked hard to earn over the last month. If the paycheck was to exceed the credit limit on your account, the remainder would have to be placed in a standard bank or credit union. Now to deduct some typical expenses. So there's rent, minus 500. Now you have a total of 1,000. And there's a month's worth of groceries. So minus 200. You're now down to 800 total. And here I just fill in a bunch of entries with possible debits and credits to your account. Notice how by the last entry the credit limit has increased because the individual made regular payments on bills, earned an appropriate amount of income, and now will have a credit history of 1 month that is still in the positive in their account balance. The total capacity of their personal credit has increased by $300. $100 for each extra point. So because they hit those three, positive boxes there, they get an extra 100 in the positive sense and an extra 100 in the negative sense. So they get more or less an extra 600 if you want to think about it that way. This system is meant to promote prosperity and to reward fiscal responsibility. Here we have been going through regular expenses, and then it turns out the car needs some internal repairs. When you go to get your car serviced, they tell you that your total cost will be $1,000, which is far more than you have in your account. But in this system, the lowest your account can go is actually negative 2,300, so you're not worried. By next payday, your balance is 700, much lower than you would like, but you ended the month of February with a negative balance, so your limit will only have increased by 200. So because you're still employed, you're still making money, you still got positive on one of those boxes. And because you're still making payments responsibly and not missing a payment, you are hitting that checkbox as well. If you were to miss a payment, and I guess the way that would occur is you are so negative that you can't go any further than that 2,300 or 2,500 when it gets there by the end. Then you would get a negative box, and basically it's going to shrink. So your amount would shrink eventually if you're not hitting those boxes, and it increases. So it's like the more responsible you are, the more the income. Trying to make sure you have a positive balance and so on. The wider your income range can grow, and then the less well off you are, the less responsible you are, the more it'll shrink. So the system's trying to build in that responsibility and to reward or punish individuals accordingly. A Let's credit limit would have an equal debit and credit as you just saw. This means you can only have so much in your checking account, and any additional income would have to go into a separate savings account, more than likely run by a credit union or bank. Now, what about building a culture around a Let's system? And really, the best way to ensure the longevity of a Let's system is to have such a culture. When I visited India, one of the things I found surprisingly enjoyable was the experience of haggling. Many small stores, except perhaps restaurants or grocery stores, would engage in this process. While some may not like to engage in this, it can be a fun kind of community game for many of us. This can be one way in which we can even bring people into a Let's system and to encourage sales among our members. Another way is to maybe open up community bazaars or flea markets. Have an easy way for producers or amateur retailers to set up a table and to encourage that small business to uh, maybe even have people inside that bazaar, that flea market, engage in the practice of haggling, right? To try and train them in getting as much as they can and being able to uh, deal with customers. It can help encourage mom and pop stores, which are really the best situated for such a system. The bigger corporate stores would probably not be as friendly towards the Let's system. And it also would encourage local production. Again, the whole idea behind a Let's system is to help make the economy more local. A Let's system helps to equalize the issue of our monetary system, but there's still a role to be played by other institutions and organizations. And indeed, many of these may seem like necessary allies for a local exchange trading system. So one of those would be a credit union, where you can set aside that extra income. So say you're getting a lot more extra income inside of your Let's account, you can start setting that aside and putting it into the credit union and even get low interest loans from them, right? I don't really need to go any further on that. You should know what a credit union is, and if you're not a member of one, I encourage you to become one. A thing that could be helpful if you're going to have a card for this Let's system is to have something similar to like Visa. I don't think we would want to use Visa, but you'd want to have something similar to it for electronic fund transfer. And the best partners will be sole proprietorships, cooperatives, and unions. Sole proprietorships because they again are those mom and pop stores. Mom and pop stores. They're the ones that are going to be your ideal target audience. Cooperatives, because they're all about equalizing the business aspect of things, and you're trying to equalize out the uh, monetary aspect of things. And then unions, who are trying to be there for the worker, and um, many of those sentiments are mutual. So what's going to be the future? The future that I plan to do is to try to set up a simple simulation and to show you just kind of how that'll look like. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but that's kind of something I have planned. Then eventually I'm going to look towards setting up a small scale simulation of how this would look like. So small scale simulation will have anywhere between 100, 200 people who have definitive jobs, and I'm basically that's going to take a lot of work, but I'm going to have to walk through basically how that would function. And then maybe, I'm not sure if I'll actually be able to have the resources to do this, but set up a medium scale simulation, which I suppose I'll set it about 1,000 population, 1,000 to 2,000, which would require a lot of work on my part. But again, the whole point is I want to prove the concept of what I'm proposing here. And I also recommend you watch the following video titled "The Essence of Money: A Medieval Tale." It's from a guy by the name of Paul, and I'll go ahead and actually hot link it for the video on YouTube. But if you are watching this on Facebook, go ahead and go on the YouTube and check out this video. It is highly recommended watching. Thank you for watching my video.